This week on The Gadget Show, Jason visits the most technology-obsessed country on Earth, a place where children build robots and computer gaming is a national sport. I have a heated debate with Tom Dunmore over the pros and cons of music downloads.
And we celebrate the coolest gadget toy ever, Scalextric.
I was surfing the internet the other night when I came across a list of the world's most connected countries, judged by Wi-Fi hotspots per capita, average broadband speed, that sort of thing. The UK was way down the list. The US, the world's only superpower, was at number 11. Japan was at number 2, but you'd never guess who occupied the number 1 slot, the world's most connected country. It's this place.
Welcome to South Korea, a country that's living our technological future right now. In just the last 50 years since the devastation of the Civil War, South Korea has grown to be the 10th largest economy in the world. And it's an economy based almost entirely on the technology industry. This is a society that loves its gadgets, and whole neighbourhoods of the capital, Seoul, are taken up with shop after shop of everything and anything technological. Locals claim that the component stores in Yangsong Electronics Market could provide you with everything you need to build a nuclear missile. Bar the plutonium, I'm hoping. Over 3/4 of the population own mobile phones. That's more than anywhere else in the world. And that's why South Korea is being used by the big phone companies as a testbed for all that's new and exciting in mobile technology.
One of the things that has impressed me most about South Korea is that it has a thought-out, purposeful Wi-Fi infrastructure. And this means as I roam the streets of Seoul with my little PSP, I'm offered tens of Wi-Fi hotspots. It seems every metre I step, there's just loads of them crying out for me to connect and surf the internet.
And the best thing is that nearly all the hotspots across South Korea have been set up by just one company, SK Telecom. So a monthly account with them allows you to log on wirelessly just about anywhere. And that's got to be better than the higgledy-piggledy system we've got in Britain of registering and paying separately for almost every hotspot.
Broadband here in South Korea is lightning quick, and it's all because a long time ago when the government was setting up the technological infrastructure for this country, they recognised that they needed a comprehensive fibre optic network. The result is that you can get broadband anywhere, and it's extremely quick. This is Chris. He's been my guide while I've been here in South Korea.
Hi.
How you doing, Chris? Okay, so just to put things in perspective, I've got a 2 megabyte connection at home. Chris, what's your home connection speed?
My connection is 100 meg.
100 meg?
Yes.
Might as well not bother.
This is a country that truly loves its technology, almost to the point of obsession. Just look at this place.
Just check out where I am. I'm sat in a TV studio. We're about to go live to an audience estimated at about 10 million people. There's 500 or 600 people squeezed into this very small space. Every time certain key personalities that they recognise but I don't walk in, they cheer and hold up banners. But what are they about to watch? Well, one of South Korea's best-loved national sports, computer gaming.
Tonight's game is a grudge match between one of the country's top players and a much less experienced underdog who's moving up through the ranks very quickly and gaining a lot of supporters. And I have to say, the atmosphere is fantastic.
Check this guy out, gaming paparazzi. The pics he's taking now, that's one of the presenters. The pics he's taking now, the equivalent of getting a snap of Posh and Bex out shopping.
Once the presenter and pundits have made their predictions, the game gets underway. They're playing StarCraft over 3 rounds, and although the computer's a standard issue, each player has his own customised keyboard and mouse. The speed at which they play the game is extraordinary, and the games that would take you or me over an hour to complete can finish in just a few minutes.
An amazing thing is happening. The underdog is winning. He's employed a very risky strategy and it's paid off. That's why everyone's getting very, very excited.
There are actually 2 channels in South Korea dedicated to computer gaming 24 hours a day. Pro League is the top rank of gaming in Korea, where professional teams compete nightly on primetime TV. with the top players taking away millions. And if you think this is a big crowd, when I spoke to the producer of tonight's show, he told me the big championship matches are played in stadiums, in front of crowds of 15,000. Everywhere you go in South Korea, people are playing computer games. It's a real national sport, and you find a gaming cafe every 100 yards or so throughout Seoul. Back at tonight's big game, and things are reaching a climax. In a shock result, the underdog has come through, much to the joy of his biggest fan.
The guy in the corner there is the favourite who's just lost, and he's talking to his professional coach, so I reckon a few curt words. Okay, so there's several hundred people in the studio, but it doesn't stop there. Just come outside and see what's going on. Excuse me. Hi, excuse me. Check this out. These are the people who didn't get a ticket.
I love this country. And there's still more extraordinary stuff to come from South Korea tonight. Join me later at the Robotic Olympics, and then on an exclusive visit behind the scenes at one of the world's least known but most cutting-edge technology companies. Who are they? Well, they're the people who invented high-definition TV.
The last year has seen the music industry finally embrace downloading. Sites such as iTunes, Sony Connect, and the new cleaned-up Napster have helped legal downloads triple in the first half of this year, to around 6% of total recorded music sales. Now, as someone with a keen interest in music, a large CD collection, and a digital music player, I reckon I'm the ideal target market for these services. But while I'm always downloading podcasts and radio shows to listen to, I haven't yet bought a single music download. Whenever I think of legal downloads, I think of copyright restrictions, lousy audio quality, incompatible file formats, limited choice, and poor value for money. But am I completely wrong? Am I just missing out? Well, if anyone knows about all this, it's Tom Dunmore, who once edited a magazine devoted to music downloading. We started with those incompatible file formats and the other restrictions hidden in downloaded files. I mean, this whole copyright thing makes me absolutely incensed that people will I'll pay for something and then I can only use it on one computer, or even on the Apple thing, 5 computers. I mean, in the future, that's going to be hopeless. My license will have expired. I mean, they're far too restrictive.
The copy restrictions on some sites are very restrictive, and I think it is probably the biggest problem at the moment with downloading. But having said that, a lot of CDs are coming out with copy protection on them now. And actually, you've got more flexibility from songs that you download from iTunes, because you can download them to your computer and burn a CD, burn a number of CDs, and then do with it what you want.
So you're saying you can get round this copyright protection by making another copy?
By making yourself a copy CD, yes.
And how much quality do I lose when I go into audio CD from
when you go from AAC or from
already?
MP3 to audio CD, you don't lose any quality. The only time you lose quality is when you then take that audio CD and convert it back to a different format.
I mean, which one in your view has the least restrictive copyright protection?
If you go to somewhere like bleep.com or Karma Downloads, they supply music in high bitrate MP3 format, so that means it will play on pretty much anything that you've got and will sound very good, so there's no restrictions there.
It's good to hear there are sites with fewer copyright worries, albeit the lesser-known ones with a limited range of music. But is the sound quality better than the miserable way below CD standard of Apple's iTunes?
There are a number of sites that offer much higher quality music than you'll get through iTunes Music Store or through Napster. A lot of sites are now offering things at 192 kilobits per second, even up to 300. It really is a case of you, as a consumer, have a choice. You've just got to arm yourself with enough information about each of those services.
It turns out Tracks to Burn, Tune Tribe and Audio Lunchbox are sites where you can get good quality, although again with a limited choice. But what about price? I find there's not a lot of difference buying CDs online and the download price of an album, so why bother downloading?
You can buy just the tracks that you want from an album.
I like that.
And you can cherry pick. You can take away all the album filler and just get the good stuff.
Tom's gone some way to convince me that things are improving, but there's still one final hurdle. When you get away from mainstream music, I find the choice of tracks, even on the popular sites, can be very limiting.
OK, that's a sort of jazz standard album. Find me that on iTunes. Is it there?
There's plenty of Ornette Coleman here on iTunes now.
Can I buy that album?
The Shape of Jazz to Come, I'm not sure that you can buy that album. However, you can get the best of Ornette Coleman for $7.99. New York Is Now, Town Hall 1962, Skies of America, Love Call. All this Ornette Coleman.
Yeah, but I want that one.
Well, you've got it. What do you need to download it
Yeah, but I bought it. Yeah, but I bought it. You're taking my
And it's $8.99. Look, you're going to save £1.
Even though that jazz CD wasn't immediately available, I felt sufficiently buoyed by Tom's arguments to go and download my first track. I'm persuaded there are now sites that offer good sound quality, wide choice, reasonable value and fewer restrictions, but I still don't think there's one site that offers it all. So though I will be downloading more music in the future, I'll still be buying plenty of CDs as well.
Now, if I mention racing games, what do you think of? Gran Turismo, Burnout, Formula 1 2005 maybe? But if I change this controller for this one, and you're anything like the guys in our Gadget Show office, then you'll break out into a huge smile and remember that somewhere hidden away in your loft is the best gadget toy ever made. I'm talking, of course, about Scalextric.
As the 50th anniversary approaches, here's a little Gadget Show tribute to our favourite boy's toy. Scalextric was invented in the 1950s by a gentleman called Fred Francis. He started out making clockwork toy cars, but soon got fed up of chasing them around the kitchen floor. He wanted something much more controllable, so he fitted the cars with electric motors and built them a rubber track. Scalextric was born. It was an overnight success, but Fred couldn't cope with the demand. So in 1958, he sold Scalextric to Triang, who were better equipped to quickly produce the kit. They developed a new plastic track, 18 cars, 2 motorbikes, and built themselves a brand new factory. Sales boomed throughout the 60s, and 1964 saw the first Scalextric World Championship. Slot car racing, as it became known, was so popular that races were televised, and even Elvis had a room at Graceland's dedicated to the little motorised cars.
So, how does it work? Well, it's one big circuit really, literally one big electrical circuit, with a current running down the metal groove of the track. Underneath the car is a small gimbal wheel which sits inside the track and uses that electrical current to power the small motor inside the car. The speed button on the controller acts as a resistor, so the harder you press it, the more current you get and the faster your car goes. But the trick to slot car racing, as indeed with any track racing, is to learn to get around the twisty bits.
These days, Scalextric is a serious business. At auction, some of the rarest cars can fetch upwards of £500. There are collectors' clubs all over the world where fans meet, build permanent tracks and race against each other, showing off their modified cars.
Last lap from Richard, in the lead. Finish blue.
There are countless special events held throughout the calendar, including world record attempts and even 24-hour endurance racing.
Scalextric's best-selling product is this, the Mini. It was launched in 1964 and since then it's been a firm favourite. Of course, over the years they've added hundreds of motorbikes and cars to the collection. But get this, Scalextric have sold enough of this track to go around the world. Twice!
With the advent of computer racing games, Scalextric sales have taken a big hit. But in an attempt to fight back, they've developed tracks on which you can pull tricks and slides. You can even race 6 cars at once and overtake each other. And soon, you'll be able to hook your track up to your PC and race online.
This is one of the greatest gadgets ever invented. And let's be honest, we've all got a bit of Scalextric hidden away in the loft. Dust it down, set it up, and reacquaint yourself with the simple joys of slot car racing.
Now it's time to return to South Korea, and a little trip I took to an exhibition centre called Kintex in the northern suburbs of Seoul. The reason for my trip? To visit the 2005 Robotic Olympics. Oh, and unless you're a 5-year-old rocket scientist, or maybe Britain's youngest nuclear physicist, prepare to feel like a technological dinosaur.
Welcome to the 7th annual... That's no problem at all. 7th annual Robot Olympiad 2005. Come and check it out. Robots of every description. I met these two guys about 15 minutes ago. Okay, this little robotic dog was a pile of motors. Literally, in 15 minutes, they've designed the dog using a bit of laptop technology, and then basically they watch what it does. Okay, I don't like the way that ankle's working or that knee joint. I'll just adjust the programming a little bit. And what they end up with eventually is a very fluid motion. Okay, that's already improved within the 5 minutes I first saw them working it. Okay, so the important thing to get your head around here is that these young people, some of which as old as 6 years old, don't come with a ready-made robot. They come with a little lunchbox-like thing. I'll show you that in a minute, full of components. They get a challenge that they don't know what it's going to be, and then they've got a matter of hours to build the robot from scratch, program it using computers, and then get it autonomously to move, in this case, across an assault course. Check it out. Can you come in here? Look at this. Can you see just down here? This guy has built this robot literally in about an hour and a half. The challenge to get through this assault course of shapes. It looks like he's doing a pretty good job. He's come a cropper on that circle. Amazing that when you think about it, years ago, it would have been incredible to see a research department make something do that after 2 years and a government grant. This kid's done it in an hour and a half and about, I don't know, 50 quid's worth of parts. This is the workshop area, a series of impromptu desks where they've got the laptops. Look at the parts, tiny little wheels. This bit is sponsored by Lego, so it's just your normal techno Lego, but with a difference. Via USB, they can interface into their laptop, and suddenly these tiny little inanimate objects become intelligent. What are you looking for? What's it missing? Ah, a round bit. Yes, I knew that.
South Korea obviously sees robots as a massively important area of technology, to the point that they actually have robotics schools and robot building exercise books for school children.
Okay, that's a PS2, PlayStation 2 controller, modified with some electronics inside, a couple of batteries. It controls this device via Bluetooth.
Yes.
Bluetooth? Yeah, fantastic. You built this?
Yes.
How old are you?
We are 12 years old.
12 years old. Absolutely fantastic. A sort of subgenre of robot challenges is playing football. It's long held a big appeal for those people that make little robots. And this thing is absolutely amazing. It's certainly the best I've seen so far. Not much happens for, say, I don't know, 20 seconds. Then suddenly all the robots will spurt into action and they move very quickly. It's really quite ferocious. Just look at this little guy. He can't be more than 9. And he's playing robot football, but more importantly, he's not just playing the game, he's programmed the robots. He's done it himself on his own computer. It's difficult to fathom. I mean, what's that guy going to be doing when he's 25 years old?
Outside the main competition arena at the Robot Olympics were a whole load of stands showing off the latest craze in robotics, creations built entirely out of servo motors. This gives them amazing agility and speed. Just watch and enjoy. Gorgeous. And there's still more to come from South Korea when I show you some pretty impressive technology from the high security R&D departments of one of the world's most cutting-edge technology companies. Who are they? Stay tuned to find out.
This was cutting-edge technology in 1976, the Cray 1, the original supercomputer. It was nearly 7 feet tall, 9 feet wide, it cost $700,000, and it could run at 133 million calculations a second. And it came with its own seating area. Now this is a modern laptop. It's about 12 inches wide, very thin, and this runs at 700 million calculations a second, which makes it 6 times faster than the Cray 1. Yes, chaps, today small isn't just beautiful, it's also very, very fast. In 1965, the co-founder of Intel, a fellow called Gordon Moore, noticed that every 18 months or so they were managing to halve the size of the components on their chips. Now, this became known as Moore's Law, and 40 years later, scientists are still successfully sticking to the same goals. Every 18 months or so, the processors in our computers are doubling in capacity and doubling in speed. But how does that work? How does shrinking all the components make your computer faster? Now, imagine this marble rally as the processor chip inside your computer. This marble represents the electricity which carries data and instructions around the chip. It zips along between the transistors which do the calculations at 186,000 miles a second, the speed of light. The thing is, the pathways it travels along are 1,000 times narrower than a human hair and run for miles. Even traveling at the speed of light, it takes time to navigate. But if you bring the transistors closer together, it actually makes the pathways a lot shorter. And that means the information, the marble in this case, can get where it's got to go a lot quicker. And of course, by bringing components closer together, you can get more into a smaller space. The more transistors on a chip, the quicker the computer. "30 years ago, they could fit 6,000 transistors on a chip. Today, they can fit over 100 million in about the same area. That's how the laptop is so much quicker than the Cray. But how on earth do they keep shrinking things? Well, the pattern of pathways and transistors is burned onto a piece of silicon by a special light. And as techniques get better, we can focus the light better, meaning we can burn much finer and smaller circuits onto the silicon. But components can't keep halving in size or doubling in capacity forever. It's estimated that sometime before 2020, we won't be able to shrink things anymore. Why not? Well, because by then the data pathways will be the width of an atom, and you can't make things thinner than that. No more shrinking, no more doubling, no more faster computers. It's game over. But even now, scientists are working on some completely different and bizarre ways of computing. They're using strands of DNA to represent data and then dissolving them in chemicals to perform calculations. They're using quantum physics to build computers that exist in all universes at the same time, or something like that. Now, these computers are on their way, although for the moment, there's nowhere to plug the controllers in.
Welcome back to South Korea. I've travelled 4 hours south of Seoul to a small industrial town called Kumi, a pretty unremarkable place, save for the fact that it's home to one of the top 5 consumer technology companies on the planet. A company that 5 years ago you probably wouldn't have even heard of, but they've snuck up on the inside lane and now they're huge, absolutely gigantic, and they're just over there.
I'm talking about LG. Now, you may have seen their name on fridges and washing machines, but that's only the start of it. They lead the world in flat-screen television technology, turning out over 1,000 LCD and plasmas every single day. They make mobile phones, computers, DVDs, hi-fis, MP3 players, sat-navs, aircon, and lifts. But in South Korea, it doesn't even end there. They build houses, they run a phone network, there's an LG cosmetics range, they make clothes, they own restaurants, golf courses, supermarkets and oil refineries. This is one big company. LG was formed by the coming together of Lucky Chemicals and Gold Star Electronics, and the name Lucky Gold Star got abbreviated to LG. These days, though, the company wants to shrug off the bargain basement reputation of Gold Star, and so now, apparently, LG stands for Life's Good. What interests me most about them, though, is that on the quiet, this company have been at the forefront of gadget technology for a very, very long time. And so when they invited me to visit their high-security, invitation-only technology centre, I couldn't get there fast enough. Walking into this room at LG's production plant in Kumi really is like stepping into the future of television. I mean, this, for example, looks like a rather large and expensive plasma screen, but it's got some trickery inside. It's got a DVR built in, a 160 gig hard drive that's capable of recording 24 hours of high definition TV and well over 60 hours of normal analog TV. This thing, though, is really special. 71-inch plasma screen, and it's not just gold in colour, it's actually gold plated, 24 karat gold plate. It takes 2 pounds of gold to cover the base, the frame of the TV, the back, and the subwoofer and speakers. But it doesn't come cheap. Louis Vuitton, the French designer, has just bought 50 of these for his showrooms, and I hope he got a discount because just one would set you back $80,000. Now, something you may not know is that for all intents and purposes it was LG that invented high-definition TV by creating the first HD decoder. Now that is a fantastic high-definition TV picture, but of course you won't be able to tell that unless you're watching a repeat of this show in 5 years' time. Anyway, here's a quick high-definition TV history lesson. This is where it all started for LG in 1993. Believe it or not, this massive box is a high-definition TV decoder. You plug your TV screen into that and you get an HD picture. 2 years later, and they reduced it to this, and then 10 years on, the contents of that box has been shrunk down into just these 2 tiny chips. And here's a thought, you may have an LG telly without even knowing it. You see, half of the flat-screen TVs they produce are sold by other companies. They wouldn't tell us precisely who, but one of LG's top men told me that they make tellies for every other company you've heard of. It might be the smallest, but this is one of the most exciting things I've seen. It's called OLED. And for me, it has a kind of mythical status because organic LED, as it's called, is really our next stage of televisual evolution. It's where we're going to go after LCD and plasma screens. Essentially, the technology is special because it has its own lighting source. That means that when you produce a screen using OLED, it can be wafer thin, I mean really thin, which leads to flexible screen technology. Also, it's got a fantastic update. If you've got an LCD or a plasma screen, you'll know that during action sequences you get a blur, a kind of lag in the image. Not the case, it's almost instant with OLED. I can't tell you how exciting this is. It's still a very fragile technology. No screen yet has lasted more than 1,000 hours, but expect to see OLED TVs in the shops within the next 5 years.
I don't know if this is coming across to you on camera, but this is a really weird experience. It's like looking at a tiny insect or a piece of jewellery. It's just a beautiful high-definition image. The reason they're so small, because the manufacturing process is so complex. That's about as big as they can make them right now.
Oh, and here's an exciting thought. The man in charge of LG's TV research and development department openly told me they're looking to produce a working prototype of a holographic TV by 2010.
This is a lovely piece of kit. It's a wireless TV. I can see these things being all the rage in the UK. Look at that. It unplugs completely from its stand. It's got a battery life of about 3 hours. But can you see as I move around, it should be good for up to 35 metres. I'm already about 15 metres away from the base station. It's got a small transmitter into which you plug your TV, your digital tune or your DVD, and it transmits the image perfectly. Can you see that? I don't know if you've ever tried using a 2.4 gigahertz transmitter at home, the sort of thing where you throw Sky up to your bedroom or whatever. If you walk in front of those things, you always see a kind of static fuzz in front of it. I'm walking around a whole bunch of electronic equipment, there's walls between me and the transmitter, and not a jot, no sign of any interruption in the signal. Absolutely beautiful.
As I mentioned earlier, LG build houses. But of course, this being South Korea, those houses are a little more advanced than the new builds we get in Britain. If you buy one of LG's prestige homes, it comes already fully automated, with security cameras, touchscreen control panels, automated curtains and lights, internet-connected washing machines, fridge and cookers. Look, you even get a play and pause button on the dishwasher. And the whole system can be accessed and programmed via your mobile phone. It'll come as no surprise that in South Korea they've got pretty advanced in-car sat-nav setups. This is particularly interesting though. LG, in cooperation with Hyundai, produced a system based on a cellular data system. They call it MOSEN. Now, I know it sounds rather geeky, it's actually quite simple. What it enables you to do is connect your car up via a mobile phone signal to a data connection, giving you essentially internet access from within the car. That's what the internet button refers to there. It'll give you all kinds of different functions. Things like your daily schedule can be updated from your home computer at the touch of a button. You can surf websites if you're stuck in traffic. As soon as your car can be connected to the internet, for me, that signals the next stage of evolution for cars. So it's actually a really exciting technology. It'll mean that car manufacturers can remotely update and upgrade the software that runs your car, and your car can tell them if something's not working right. It'll bring a whole new meaning to the phrase smart car. Finally, having left LG's technology centre and headed off to do a bit of souvenir shopping, I found one more of their gadgets worth looking at. I've built lots of gadgets for the Gadget Show, and at the start of this current series I had an idea to try and build myself a breathalyzer phone, a phone that you blew into and that would tell you whether you're over the limit or not. But it seems LG have beat me to it. This is how it works. Just a press of a button, wait for the beep, blow into the little inlet on the side, then analyses my breath, and there you go, there's the symbol that says that I am under the limit and okay to drive.
Of course, is the brand new Sony PS3 games console, the most powerful home games console.
So it's a Tremoto leaning vehicle suspension system. So it's got the monoshock that's designed to lean.